Pooh Shiesty is facing trouble on two different fronts. At first, he was in trouble because of something that happened earlier in the year, but now he's also facing trouble for something that happened last year, and as a result, he's been indicted by the federal authorities. As if that's not enough, he could be looking at decades of jail time should things not go his way, and at present, it's not looking like it'll go his way. So, what were these events that could lead to this particular sentence? We'll break it down for you, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And with that being said, let's get into the video. The 2020 arrest. Let's start with the most recent event, as that was sketchy for a lot of reasons, and then we'll talk about how things grew from there. Pooh Shiesty surrendered Tuesday to face a criminal charge from a shooting that allegedly happened over the Memorial Day weekend at a strip club in Northwest Miami-Dade. The rapper, whose real name is Lontrell Williams, was booked into a Miami-Dade jail on an aggravated battery charge, according to certain reports. According to an arrest warrant obtained by the Miami Herald, Williams shot a security guard in the leg. The incident happened on May 30th at the King of Diamonds strip club in Northwest Miami-Dade during the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Video surfaced on Instagram of him walking out of a show at the club with a weapon. As for specifics of the incident, Pooh Shiesty had just performed at the strip club on the 7000 block of Northwest 72nd Avenue. A security guard was escorting him out just before 4 a.m. through the crowd when an unknown person knocked money out of the rapper's back pockets. The crowd began excitedly trying to pick up the cash. Williams grew angry and jumped back on the stage to see who was grabbing his money, the warrant said. The security guard saw a gun in his waistband. The guard told the defendant to hide the firearm and tried to put his hand on Williams' hand to prevent him from taking the firearm out of his waistband, the warrant said. Williams, as he was being led out of the club again, took out the gun and fired one shot, hitting the guard in the ankle, according to the warrant by Miami-Dade detective Daniel Soto. The guard told police that when he saw the rapper taking the gun out, his jumping out of the way saved him from being shot in the torso. Williams fled the club with his entourage in a Cadillac Escalade, police say. So as you can see, there was a very violent incident involving Pooh Shiesty there, and while that case is evolving in ways that we'll detail later, the other issue with the rapper is one that ties back to last year: the 2020 arrest, the 2021 indictment. The feds have indicted Pooh Shiesty over the alleged shooting and robbery of two men outside of Bay Harbor Island's hotel that occurred last year. He is now in federal custody and made his first Miami federal court appearance at the end of June. The charges: discharging a firearm during a violent crime, conspiracy, and robbery under a law regulating commerce. Williams had been charged and freed on bond in Miami-Dade State Court over the same incident, but as we just noted, he was put back in jail on a separate charge over the alleged shooting of a security guard at the King of Diamonds strip club on Memorial Day, and that led to a domino effect, if you will, that grew. We've been in communication with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we believe they have a federal detainer on him and are likely to file federal charges, his defense attorney Sam Zangina told the Herald earlier this month. That doesn't change our position as to his 100% innocence in both state and federal matters. The case against him: in the federal case, Williams is charged along with two other men, Bobby Brown and Jaden DeRosa. According to a criminal complaint, the trio in October arranged to buy some marijuana and high-end athletic sneakers from two men at the Landon Hotel in Bay Harbor Islands. Williams showed up in a rented McLaren exotic car, DeRosa in a black Mercedes Maybach. During the deal, Williams and Brown shot the two men, one in the hip and the other in the rear end. According to the complaint, the robbery was captured on video surveillance, according to the criminal complaint by Miami-Dade detective Elio Garcia, who was part of an FBI violent crimes task force. Williams used a Draco subcompact machine gun and never paid either victim for the shoes or marijuana, the complaint said. Social media, the feds say, was critical in building that case. Investigators also found a Louis Vuitton bag that fell out of the McLaren. It contained $40,912 in cash. Just days before the robbery, the feds said his Instagram featured photos of himself with several long rifles and a plethora of $100 bills. One of the bills in the bag had the same serial number as the one depicted on Instagram. His Instagram account also featured him posing with what appeared to be the same green McLaren. DeRosa's Instagram account also showed him wielding the same Draco used by Williams, according to the complaint. Based on what was going on here in terms of evidence, it seems like the federal authorities have solid proof that he was involved in these crimes, meaning that they were more than fair in their assessment to indict him. As should this hold, he's in serious trouble, mainly because he faces a maximum of 20 years each for conspiracy to possess firearms in furtherance of violent crime and Hobbs Act robbery conspiracy, and a maximum life sentence for discharging a firearm in furtherance furtherance of a crime of violence. To be clear, that's just for the federal case. He still has the local case, which we'll get back to in a second, but because there's one person who's very much wanting Pooh Shiesty to go to jail for his crimes: Crunchy Black. During a recent interview with Dirty Glove Bastards Off the Porch series, fellow Memphis native Crunchy Black boldly states jail is where Pooh Shiesty belongs, considering his alleged involvement in the October 2020 shooting incident in the Bay Harbor Island area. Pooh Shiesty, look at this. He begins, he just got in the game. He already jumping out the car, robbing it, and the person off camera says, allegedly, to which Black replied, yeah, whatever. We saw that. Alleged might. But Pooh Shiesty, that's my... Just saying, he did it. It was him. I ain't gonna act like that wasn't him. That was Pooh Shiesty. They can't lock him up because I said it was him. I could still be lying. This is a very interesting thing for multiple reasons, not the least of which is the fact that usually when a rapper goes and gets arrested, the rap community stands behind them unless they're a rival. But with Crunchy Black, he's on the same side of the tracks as Pooh Shiesty, if you will, and yet he's saying that he should go to jail because he clearly did it. That's not something you hear from rappers often. The funny thing is, he might just get his wish, because on July 6th, U.S. Magistrate Judge Edwin G. Torres ordered Pooh Shiesty to remain behind bars until trial without bond, which means he's gonna be locked up for at least a little while until the trial decides his fate. And his fate is still up in the air regarding the other case too, the recanted statement. In regards to the Gentleman Club case, there was a major twist that few saw coming in terms of what happened in regards to the testimony. Allegedly, victim Frivin Dorr, who was working security at King of Diamonds strip club when the shooting occurred, reportedly doesn't remember giving his original statement to police and blames the powerful opioid he was given in the hospital. Court documents reveal Dorr is on record saying he was given Dilaudid when he first arrived at the hospital, which rendered him unable to recount what he said to detectives. He now says the commotion in the club that night could have been caused by a ceiling fan that fell in a nearby parking garage. He also doesn't remember Pooh Shiesty aiming at him or even pulling the trigger. Dorr added he doesn't want to press charges or talk to Miami officials about the incident. So this changes things in a particular case because it was his testimony that was used to help secure the original arrest warrant. But the fact that he's now recanting and telling a wildly different story not only changes the circumstances, but it adds questions to what is going on. On one hand, it's very possible that the guard was on an opioid that made him misremember things. It has happened in the past. Add that drug to the chaotic incident that took place, and you can certainly see a case for confusion of events, if you will, and how he may have said one thing but remembered another. The problem though is that his testimony wasn't the only thing going on here. We know he got shot in the ankle, and we know it's from Pooh Shiesty's gun. He was even caught on camera having the gun and walking out of the nightclub with it and his entourage in tow. So the question becomes, why did the victim retract and change the narrative? The obvious answer is that Pooh Shiesty made a personal deal with him in order to get him to back off. It's important to note that this was before the federal incident charges, and so he might have been trying to get off by paying off the witness. There are certain rappers' cases where this was suspected of happening many times. The irony, however, is that despite the victim going and saying he didn't want Pooh Shiesty charged and put in jail, he's there right now because of the other incident, and he'll be there despite the recanting, and he may still be tried for those crimes later on. The fate of Pooh Shiesty. To say that Pooh Shiesty is in a bit of trouble is a bit of an understatement, because now he's got charges and potential jail time for 2 different acts of violence, and at least one of them is backed by the federal authorities. As noted earlier, the nature of these crimes may just lead him to become a regular in jail, as he could be facing decades of time. So can he get out of it? Sure, he could try and cut a deal, but in the rap world, that would make you a snitch. And thus someone like Pooh Shiesty might be hesitant about trying to cop out a deal of that nature. He could try and get a lower sentence for his crimes without snitching, but the federal authorities would only do that if they think they have no true case against him. Again, he's in jail right now waiting for his trial to start, and what happens there is frankly anyone's guess. And there you go everyone, a look at the situation with Pooh Shiesty and how his outlook is not the best given all the trouble he's in. Are you surprised that this situation evolved into what it is now? Do you think there is any way for Pooh Shiesty to get out of the situation he's in right now? Or will he soon be in jail for a long time? Go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.